In the studio that's set up at the Results Operations Centre in Pretoria. And one of the key indicators that we've been using for a number of these elections now is the CSIR's model that they use to project and look at what might the figures and the outcome might be. And to help us unpack that, in fact, they're busy going to mic him up now, but it's a pretty interesting story that's playing out. And as you can imagine, the low turnout possibly has contributed to the numbers that we're seeing now. And to help us unpack what those numbers look like, we're now joined by Pravesh Debba, who's a statistician from the Centre for Scientific Institutes and Research, the CSIR. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. We talked before about this, and you told us that the national elections a little bit easier in terms of the number that you need to get a projection. 10 to 15%, you said, for the local government elections. We're way past that now. So you're starting to feel a bit more confident with what your model is telling you?
Yes, definitely, Peter. So early this morning at about 5 o'clock, we did give a prediction, especially at national level, and we also gave some provincial results as well. Because we had arrived at close to 15% of the voting districts at that stage.
All right. So what percentage are we at in terms of voting districts, and what is it telling us in terms of your projection on a national level at this stage?
Okay, so Peter, the last download we did was at 2 hours ago. Things in terms of the actuals have changed a little bit, but in terms of our projections, very little changes. So it doesn't matter what is being shown. But as you can see, from this morning, we have consistently predicted that the ANC will be, in that region of 47%, and as you can see, we're still in that region of 46.4%. That is what we are projecting, and we do have a little bit of trend going with that. From 2011 and the last municipal election, the ANC was 54.5, and projecting now at 46.4.
So this comparative figure here, this is at the same time last time. So at the same point where you were taking the results. So at this point in 2016, the ANC had 54.4% projection in your. That's what you were seeing. And this time they're 46, so they're down almost 10% at this point.
Peter, let me explain these two the comparisons that we are making here. So when 52.8% of the voting districts are counted, so that is what the actuals that is in. So what we're seeing from this actuals is this column here. Right, so we are seeing that the ANC is 46.5 with that 52.8. This comparison here, because we have the full data in 2016, we can take all the same voting districts that has been declared now and compare them to what they were
at this point.
Not specifically at that point. But you're comparing like with like.
So what we've counted already now, you're comparing with what was counted at that point in the last election, and you're comparing those two, and that's where we get that figure. All right,
but the exact same voting districts.
All right, so what it is telling us is that the ANC, Democratic Alliance, have both suffered. They're both casualties at this point, but it looks as if the EFF have improved. All right, take us through some of the provinces. So Nelson Mandela Bay, we know that that's been a contentious one over time. What is this telling us now after 27.2% of the votes had been declared?
Okay, so in these results, what we are showing is the 9 metros.
Right.
So in Nelson Mandela Bay, like you're seeing, only 27.2% of the voting districts have been declared. But what we are projecting is that for ANC, it's going to drop from 41.5 from 2016 to around about 39.3 for this year. And for DA, there's also going to be a drop from 46.7 to what we're projecting 42.1. So, one can go through.
EFF again, similar trend.
Yes.
They're gaining votes.
They're gaining, correct.
So they're taking away from these other two. But I suppose also these figures are also telling us a story that the smaller parties, independents, they are contributing to these losses.
Yes, that is, they are gaining from the losses, obviously. But, it's difficult to say that there's shifts from here to there. And I think this year is particularly difficult because, aside from shifts, you also had a number of people that did not vote. So, it could be not just shifts, but absent of votes.
All right. We're going to chat again later. So what I'd like us to do is look at Tshwane and... oh, gosh, what have I done? I think it's this one, isn't it?
Okay, so this is the national. And
this is the metro. That's the one we want. So what I want us to do is take a look at Johannesburg and Pretoria, Tshwane, to see. Your hands are better than mine. There you go. All right, and let's just see what that is telling us, because so there's Johannesburg now.
Yes.
So 35.8%, and that again is a comfortable amount for you and your model to give us an idea of what's going to happen. And you're quite confident that this is the story at the end of the day. So what is it telling us?
Yeah. So here again, one needs to be a little bit careful. Although the overall picture, is pretty good. Because there's 35.8% that has been declared, but the one party that is really troubling us in terms of predictions is Action SA.
Because you've got no comparative data.
We've got you see, it's actually a long. It's more than just that, because if you look at, for example, in 2009, when COPE came in, we had no data for COPE, we had no information. I mean, there were a new party, but the model was able to accurately predict COPE.
Right.
And one of the reasons why it was able to do that is because COPE supporters was across the country. In 2014, when EFF came in, then it was very difficult for the model to accurately predict EFF. Now, there was two possible reasons for that. The one is for EFF, the support is in specific areas. So it could also have an effect on the model, because the model is not learning how that voting pattern is occurring across the country. And the second reason is that for EFF, where they had high support, those were the areas where there was the results were held back.
Okay.
So we also only saw that result at a much later stage.
All right, so it's a bit smoother this time, and what it's telling us, 2016 ANC 44.9%, and they're down to 34% this time around. So if they had trouble forming a coalition last time, they've got an even bigger headache this time around. Democratic Alliance, 38% last time, 2016, down to 29%. And the EFF again, same trend, not huge jumps, but they're improving. And then this figure here perhaps is the one that's going to be who then becomes the kingmaker. But we'll ask our analysts that. I know we've run out of time, but if you could just find Pretoria for us, because that's another one that we're going to be looking at. And let's just get a quick feeling about what that's telling us. There we go, City of Tshwane. Wow. Okay, so 21% again within your measure of comfort. And what is that telling us here?
Now, once again, ANC has dropped from 41.5 to 33.3, and DA from 43.1 also to 33.2 or so.
Wow.
So those two are almost exactly the same. The EFF is holding on to what they were in 2016. No real improvement. There's also a number of other parties that's starting to come, like for example the IFP, which was 0.1 in 2016. It's gone to 0.8, and obviously the Freedom Front Plus, which has increased from 2% in 2016 to what we're projecting 6.9.
Wow.
And Action SA, of course,
Okay, so there's a shift in the balance of power, and what combinations these ones will do to get one of these parties interested will be key to this. All right, Pravesh, we'll chat again later, but thanks so much indeed for giving us a first look at some of these results. Again, it was about 2 hours ago. I'm told downstairs that we're 78% of the results in now, so might have shifted a little bit, but you're confident these figures are not going to shift too much? 1% max error rate?
I don't think even a percent. It should be a fraction.
All right,
of a
so
percent.
I can bet my mortgage on this.
The only one I'm concerned about is
Action SA.
Yes.
All right, Pravesh, thanks so much indeed. All right,
thank you.
So that's what the figures are telling us. Let's now try and make sense of these figures. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and to both of you, a very, very warm welcome. And it looks like the ANC have got a hiding. Let me start with you, Sandile, but the DA as well.
Yeah, the challenge that we anticipated in a way, and I must say that the CSIR numbers are in many ways worse than what I thought would be the case.
Wow.
As we speak today. So I thought we were going to see the ANC becoming a 40% type party. But when I look at the actual projections as we speak today, they are probably becoming a 30-something% type of party.